Media bias is a very big topic these days, and it's something that I think we should all pay attention to. Now, most people tend to talk about this issue, and they'll point to what looks like government collusion between the media and the government. So they'll say that, the media is covering for the government, they're not talking about this story, or they're pushing some sort of agenda. They have biased coverage, they might be harder on conservatives than they are on liberals, etc. That's what most people tend to focus on. But I want to focus on the sort of Ottawa bubble that someone can get into simply by the fact of living there and working as a media professional or as a government employee. And that's really the lens with which you're going to look at the world, and that itself is going to bias you. And I'll show you what I mean. So let's keep a couple things in mind here. First, this is the City of Ottawa's page, and it's a very nice page. It talks about the economic statistics of Ottawa and why you might want to move there. And you can see here the average median family income here is about $102,000, and the average housing price is about $400,000. So that's pretty high. That's a pretty good income, and housing cost is actually pretty low, especially if we can compare to cities like Toronto, where I live. In Toronto, in the city of Toronto itself, $98,000 is the average median income, in Toronto region, so the surrounding area, $104,000. So about the same income. But if you look over here at the average housing price, according to the website Zillow, the average housing price in the city of Toronto is $1.1 million. That's 3 times what you have in Ottawa. So you have that much more disposable income, that much more income that is not going towards your house, that you can afford to drive a nicer car, or go on vacation, send your kids to school, do more things, buy more things. That amount of money is going to put you in a different life position, and you're going to be able to look at the world in a different way. Secondly, a lot of the people who work in Ottawa tend to either be government employees or work directly or indirectly with government. So these are people who, again, work in a ministry, might be a reporter or some support staff for a reporter. Of course, there's other employees that a city would have, but because it's the capital, because there are a lot of government offices, these are the type of people that are there. So these people who work for the media or for the government, they're not necessarily affected by some of the COVID restrictions in the same way, because even though they can't necessarily leave their house and they have to work from home, because they work for a ministry, their ministry may not have been shuttered, their ministry may remain open, and they can work from home. So they have not taken that salary hit that other people have. When you talk about, for example, the Ontario lockdowns, if you are an Ottawa reporter and you're making this $102,000 or more, if you're really high up there, if you're a pundit or some kind of commentator, you have a very, very different life outlook than, for example, a restaurateur in Toronto or someone who owns a yoga studio or fitness studio. And I can tell you from personal experience, my wife being a certified yoga instructor, that industry in particular, and a lot of these industries, fitness, restaurants, they're taking a huge hit, and it's not really clear how many will survive, because so many of them have already been shuttered or will be shuttering once that debt kicks in. So you have a very, very different outlook. The other one is kind of like the plastic ban, where you can kind of think of it that these people, again, because they're living a different life, they may not be affected so directly by the plastic ban. And here you have, a story from the CBC saying that recycling was a lie to sell more plastic. But even if that's the case, and that's a terrible thing, that would be a terrible thing. First of all, my question on this one is simply, why did we not know about this before? It's not like plastic is a brand new thing. But second, if you are an elite and you don't necessarily rely on plastic takeaway things, to-go things, not reusable things, and look, I'm not saying these things are great. These things are not good for the environment. I'm simply saying that some people may be privileged where they can work from home. They're not reliant on some of these things that people are calling for banning. They're not going to be suffering or losing their house and all of their income if their restaurant or their yoga studio, their gym, their bar, or their restaurant is going to go bankrupt. So that alone is enough to create this sort of bias, because you're just looking at the world in a different way. And it's not that malicious bias or that pushing an agenda bias that people want to talk about, because that definitely exists, and that's something we can talk about as well. But the thing that I want to focus on here again is the different outlook you have on life. You simply look at the world in a different way because of your circumstances, and that is going to affect the issues that you think are the most important. And so I really think that's something we need to think about when we're talking about bias, or when we're looking at people's perspectives, understanding that they have different perspectives. Even if we agree with them, they may be coming at it from a different point of view, and that's something we should all keep in mind. So hopefully you found this a bit informational and hopefully a bit entertaining as well. So for True North, I am Sam Eskenasi. I hope you have yourselves a great day, and thank you so much for watching.